Hello, I'm Peter Towers. Welcome to this brief number 3 on crowdsource funding equity raising. Is crowdsource funding equity raising the same as crowdfunding? No, it's not. And I'm going to show you some of the differences in this clip this morning. Crowdsource funding equity raising is governed by the Australian Government's Corporations Act, which is a very powerful piece of legislation that requires strict legal adherence to the law relative to the processes that a company has got to go through to be able to raise capital as a crowdsource funding equity raising company. The government has introduced the concept of intermediaries into this legislation and has authorised the Australian Security Investment Commission to appoint 14 intermediaries at this stage, whose responsibility is to act as the gatekeepers on behalf of ASIC, but also promoters to attract investors into a company that the intermediary has authorised can proceed into the capital raising process. The company has to produce a crowdsource funding offer document, which is very similar to a prospectus if the company was undertaking an initial public offer, an IPO. Therefore, there is a lot of legal control built around the concept that a company can raise capital as a crowdsource funding equity raising company. Crowdfunding, on the other hand, is a popular term given to people who utilise social media in the main to be able to raise money for a particular need or event. It has virtually no government control or legislation covering its activities. Common uses for crowdfunding include raising money to assist a family with funeral expenses when they cannot afford the cost of the funeral, raising money to assist someone who has been injured in an accident or needs major medical treatment, raising money for an inventor who wants to finish a project that they have been working on and makes an appeal to the public for support. They may offer to donors a sample of the final product when it's finished as part of the presentation. Or we could have a situation, which we have in Australia at present, where an employee is raising money to pay for legal expenses in a dispute that the employee is having with their employer. So there's various reasons why people might utilise crowdfunding to pay for the costs that they're going to incur in a particular event, but they do not have the legal structure of crowdsource funding equity raising. There is no formal requirement in crowdfunding to submit a report to anyone as to the amount of money raised. Now, I note that some fundraising organisations do that, and that is good to see. In fact, I'd like to see everyone actually reports on the amount of money that's been raised and also gives a indication as to where that money was spent. A company cannot utilise crowdfunding to raise share capital for its company at all. The company must utilise the Corporations Act, and there's a number of options there for a small proprietary company. Obviously, crowdsource funding equity raising, if the company meets the criteria. It could be as an early stage innovation company, or it could be a Section 708, or the company, if it wants to grow to be larger, could utilise an IPO, an initial public offer. But it cannot utilise crowdfunding to raise capital for the company. If you have any questions on any aspect of the matters that I've discussed with you today, please don't hesitate to send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au. I would suggest now that you move on to briefing number 4 in this series so that you get a full appreciation of all aspects of crowdsourced funding equity raising. Have a great day. Goodbye.